After Bhagavan dropped the body, Shastri Mama's son, Balu, who was studying in a far-off village, completed his schooling. My grandfather, Chinnaswamy, asked him to be brought to the ashram. He got him a job in the district office in town, and after some time he expressed a wish to have his parents live with him. So Chinnaswamy asked Shastri Mama and Sela Mama to do so. Shastri Mama knew the exact date and time when his son was going to pass away, and that it was only a few months away. 3 days before the fatal day, Balu came down with a raging fever and died at exactly the predicted time. This is when Shastri Mama himself told me, "I thought Sela would not be able to bear this, so I didn't tell her of Balu's imminent death. On the contrary, the way she received her son's death is remarkable. She is greater than me. She did not shed even a single tear. Instead, she consoled me, saying, 'He has gone back to Arunachala. We are so fortunate that he came here and gave up his body to be united with Arunachala.'" After their son's death, they lived in a cottage in front of the ashram. My father, Venkatesa, requested Shastri Mama, "Why don't you come and help me in managing the puja at the ashram?" Shastri Mama, now a man of deep wisdom, undertook the puja in Bhagavan's shrine. This is how I got to know him. For some reason, he was very deeply drawn to me. From the moment I moved to the ashram, he paid special attention to me. He told me, "For us, Bhagavan is God. Bhagavan's form is truth, and Bhagavan's name is truth." I asked him what he meant by that, and he replied, "Do you recognize who Bhagavan is? Bhagavan is Arivunamai Nishta. He is truly a self-realized being, ever established in the heart as the I am. He has already won over the dictates of the 5 senses through inner wisdom." I asked him, "What should I do? How can I serve?" "Venerate Bhagavan and share his name and reputation. Share the teachings with other people so that they can discover this inner joy and this inner wisdom. And what you should adore in him. Do you recognize who he is? He is a flame of wisdom. Tell the world Ramana is not just a body, not just an individual. He is pure wisdom. He is Arivan Gusatan. And Gusatan means thunderbolt, the most powerful weapon that destroys the enemy's ignorance. Our Bhagavan is that thunderbolt that will destroy all forms of ignorance. He is the conqueror of the time-space concept, a colossal hero who has conquered death. Shastri Mama talked to me all the time about Bhagavan. It made me experience his presence. By this time, Shastri Mama had taken up a job at the ashram. He was an assistant to Kittu and Apuchi, who were young priests. They would instruct him to fetch things for them, and he would run their errands. It pained me deeply that this realized Mahatma was assisting 2 priests who were younger than him, but he was doing so uncomplainingly, while they did not even recognize his spiritual stature. The Nagapa Chedayar prediction of Shastri Mama that we shared earlier was only that I heard from him. Though I totally believed it had happened, I needed to feel for myself the impact of such miracles. Shastri Mama did perform a number of miracles. Since my brain or intellect could not grasp the logic behind them, I was thrilled when such happenings took place right in front of my eyes. A French lady, Edith Derry, was a chief accountant of an international French bank in Paris. Every year, she would come to the ashram to spend 3 or 4 weeks of her annual holiday in meditation. After finishing her work for the day at the bank, she would directly go to the airport, board the plane in Paris, and get off in Mumbai, catch a train, and come straight to Tiruvannamalai. She used to plan her return journey just as meticulously to make sure she spent maximum time at the ashram. Every minute of her stay at Bhagavan's ashram was that sacred for her. On the year of her retirement from her bank job, sometime in the 1970s, she bought gifts for me and every other resident of the ashram. So in addition to her usual single piece of baggage, she was carrying an extra bag during that trip which contained all the gifts. She was to arrive at the ashram on a particular day, but did not make it. I was very surprised at this. It had never happened before. One day, as I was standing in front of Bhagavan's shrine, attending the morning milk offering puja, I felt 2 hands resting affectionately on my shoulders from behind. It was Edith Derry, my French mother. She whispered into my ears, "I have lost my gift box. That is the reason for the delay." Something made me move toward Shastri Mama, who was participating in the chanting of the mantras. When I went very close to him, spontaneously he turned towards me and said, "Nothing is lost. She will get it back." After the puja, I introduced her to Shastri Mama. She gave the details. "Usually," she said, "I travel only by Air France. This year, being my retirement year, I took Kuwait Airlines as it was cheaper. And when I reached Mumbai, I discovered that the bag containing all the gifts was missing. The airline assured me that I would get it by their next flight. I waited for a day, but even after repeated searches, they could not locate my lost bag. The airline has assured me that they will somehow find it and forward it to our ashram address." Using his prajna expertise, Shastri Mama declared that her missing bag was neither lost nor stolen, and that she would get it back. A few days later, the airline sent her a letter apologizing for not being able to locate the box and promising to compensate her if she gave details of the contents of the box and their cost. She was disappointed with Shastri Mama's prediction. When we met Shastri Mama the next day, she expressed her feelings frankly. He was visibly irritated. "What? She doubts the prediction? I see her box right in front of my eyes, in a large room, untouched by anyone." A week after Edith Derry left the ashram for France, I got a letter from her in which she was all admiration for Shastri Mama. She said, Your astrologer saint is truly great. His prediction was 100% correct. At Kuwait Airport, as there was a lot of time to catch my transit flight, I chanced to enter a big hall where all the baggage is stored. And what do I see? My missing bag by the entrance on the floor. That too with no tag. All the other bags had their tags and were neatly arranged in rows of shelves, except mine. I happily reported it to the office, and they apologized for the oversight. They, however, did explain to me that they had repeatedly verified the bags on the shelves for my missing bag, but had inadvertently ignored the bag lying at the entrance door. Good news for you all. I am coming next month just to give my gifts to the ashram workers. One of the first instances of Shastri Mama's guidance came to me when I was reading a book on the miracles of a living saint. Neither could I put the book down nor sleep the entire night. I felt I must meet this master and that I too must possess the power of performing miracles. After the day's puja, while I stood in front of the old office about 30 feet away, Shastri Mama suddenly said, "Ganesha, stop! Stay there." I obeyed him. "I order you not to have any thoughts," he commanded. He then held out a bunch of grapes and said, "Now tell me, how many grapes are there in this bunch?" 13, I replied. "Come here and count them," he commanded again. My guess turned out to be accurate. "How did you say 13, he asked. "I don't know," I answered, puzzled. "Don't say that. You cannot get away by saying that. Tell me how you thought there were 13 grapes." He pressed. This time I kept quiet. "You know, I told you to stay without thoughts," he said. "Why did you not say 15 or 10 or 11? How did you say exactly 13? When you were without thoughts, I put that number into your mind. I had already counted them. A miracle is nothing but a stronger mind occupying a weaker mind. Never get distracted by a miracle." I was amazed. I had never spoken to him about the book. He said, "I am not saying this without support." And he quoted from one of Bhagavan's verses, where Bhagavan said, "To inquire into and abide as the self, which is the ever-present reality, is alone the true attainment, the greatest siddhi. All other siddhis or occult powers are equivalent to powers enjoyed in the dream state. When the sleeper awakes, are the dream powers real? Can those who stay in the state of self, thereby casting off all forms of unreality, ever be deluded by indulging in the siddhis?" At one stroke, Shastri Mama wiped out forever any inclination I might have for siddhis or occult powers. Shastri Mama was the most profound yet simplest man with whom I have ever interacted. In the Vedas, it is said that the ultimate truth is smaller than the atom and bigger than all the cosmos put together. With no one was this truer than with Shastri Mama. It was he who chose my present home, Ananda Ramana. When this house came up for sale, I told him that I wanted Anuradha to buy it. He was totally blind at that time, but he instantly said, "No, you should own it," and continued, "Take me to that land." I took him around every inch of the land. At one spot, he stopped and asked me to describe the location. And I said, there are 2 trees here, one a peepul tree and the other a neem tree. Before I could say anything more, he interrupted me and smilingly said, yes, Lord Ganesha has chosen this spot. The peepul tree represents the father aspect, and the neem tree the mother aspect. Lord Ganesha is the son of Lord Shiva and Mother Parvati. Make a shrine for the idol of Lord Ganesha in between these 2 trees. Since Lord Ganesha himself has selected the spot, I have named him Samartha Vinyakar, which means auspiciousness showering Ganesha. In accordance with his guidance, I bought Ananda Ramana with the help of a friend and constructed a shrine for Lord Ganesha just at the spot Shastri Mama had indicated. On the day of the housewarming, he himself guided all rituals, including the puja to Samartha Vinyakar. When I prostrated to him and sought his blessings, he was very gracious to me, saying, the world around you will ignore you and give you up. But don't worry. Samartha Vinyakar will protect you and guide you. I will also initiate you today into a special Ganesha mantra, which should neither be written down nor chanted loudly. Do the japa of it only inwardly within your heart. Ignore the world. Turn inward and always be submerged in that japa in your heart. You are ever blessed by Bhagavan. In his last days, Shastri Mama fell from his cot and broke his hip. Hugo Mayer, who helped many devotees in their last days by attending to them and giving them homeopathy medicines, examined Shastri Mama and said, he is too old to undergo any surgery. Shastri Mama only said, why pay attention to the body? It is going to die anyhow. How does it matter whether it goes in pain, since I am not the body? Is your leg hurting terribly? I asked. Smiling despite the obvious excruciating pain he was going through, he replied, Kalai yaduku padraka mukalai paru anandamai rukan. In Tamil, kai means leg, and it also means a quarter, while mukai means 3/4. By punning on the word kai, he was in effect telling me, why are you focusing on the small quarter portion, the body? Focus on the larger portion, the self. I am in absolute peace, in absolute bliss. Though his body was in pain, he was all the time in ecstasy. I intuitively felt that his last day had arrived. I took along my friend Anuradha to receive the blessings of this wonderful saint. I held his holy feet and requested, please bless me, Mama. And he humbly replied, only Bhagavan gives blessings. I persisted, no, you must put your hand on our heads and bless us. He finally agreed. I asked him if we could do anything for him. He said, asked Anuradha to sing Bhagavan's Arunachala Pancharatnam. And while Anuradha and I sang that sublime hymn of Bhagavan, Shastri Mama kept his palms together on his chest. Tears of ecstasy flowed copiously from the outer corners of his eyes. And soon Shastri Mama merged consciously in the self.